I am a senior infrastructure migration and modernization specialist in AWS. Spent about 5 years here and have been helping customers migrate and modernize on AWS. Okay, few things that we are going to cover today in our presentation. Firstly, we are going to talk about what are the VMware licensing changes that have happened post-acquisition from .com. We are going to talk about the different migration and modernization pathways available in AWS. We'll talk about a couple of migration approaches, what are different programs and incentives that we offer to our customers. We are going to talk about certain purpose-built migration services and tools, and finally end with our modernization approach. Before we start, just want to understand, probably raise of hands, how many of you use VMware today in on-premises? Okay, almost everyone. Is anyone aware of what are the licensing changes that have happened after .com acquired? Just high level. Anyone? Sorry? Okay, very nice. Sorry? Super. Okay, so I think both of you are correct. What I'll do is I'll try and summarize the overall changes that have happened. First thing which Broadcom has done is they have sold off the end user computing portfolio which VMware had to a private equity firm, and they have consolidated and wanting to continue only on the hybrid and private cloud portfolio. As one of you rightly said, we have, after the acquisition, all customers have been forced to move from a perpetual license to a subscription based license. So what this basically means is, all your old licenses which you were using indefinitely are no more going to be supported. All of them are end of support live, and you will be forced to renew on a subscription basis. It could be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years based on how long you want to subscribe to it, but it's going to be a recurring cost for you going forward. The other change which has happened is the socket based costing, right, for the licenses has been changed into a core-based pricing. Okay. Now you would have rightly guessed both the above things will have a direct impact in the overall licensing cost. Okay. Now the third thing, and which is a very important change that has happened. Anyone knows before the Broadcom acquisition how many products or how many SKUs VMware had? VMware, how many products, how many SKUs did VMware have? Any rough number in mind that you have? You've heard of, I'm sure you would have heard of vSphere, you've heard of vCenter, anyone heard of NSX? Anyone heard of vSAN? vSAN you use, perfect. So in all there were more than 150 products or SKUs which VMware had, and what Broadcom has done is all of the products have been restructured and they have been consolidated into two bundled offerings. One is called as VCF, VMware Cloud Foundation. The second one is called as VMware, VMware vSphere Foundation. Okay. VMware Cloud Foundation is very simple, straightforward. Whether we like it or we don't like it, it is a bundled offering with compute, storage, networking, security, management all built in the integrated stack. And VMware, which is VMware vSphere Cloud, is a stripped down version of vSphere, mainly supporting non-enterprise customers and smaller businesses. Again, you would have imagined, now let's say there are customers who are only using vSphere standard earlier. You no more have an option to go and renew vSphere standard alone. You will have to go for something called as VCF, which will come along with all the other products as well, whether we use it or we don't use it, and have to pay for the licenses. Another thing which has happened is the pricing, the core based pricing is also in multiples of 72 core based license. Earlier it was socket based, now it is 72 core based license. All three of this combined that I just spoke about, what we're hearing from customers is a lot of customers are facing from 2x all the way to 15x overall impact in their cost. So imagine 2x to 15x higher price is what customers will have to pay for the same VMware licenses which they were kind of using. Okay, and incorporating VCF again in their environment is not a straightforward change. There are a lot of changes that also has to be done by customers when they renew their licenses. Anyone who has already renewed their VMware license? Sir, if I may ask you, how much higher did you pay for the licenses? More than 200%. Okay. So, depends on the size of your infrastructure, depend on what kind of products you are using, the impact that you see on cost is going to vary. But you're right, sir, 200%, I'm sure it would not have felt too good. A lot of justification would have to be given. And you renewed it for 1 year, 3 years? 3 years ago. Okay, perfect. But this is the scenario. When, if you are not aware of the cost impact, when the renewal is going to come, it is going to hit you hard. So now is the time we have to start discussing about what are the changes, what are the impact that you are going to see, and what are the alternatives that you have to adopt when you want to move out of here. Another change which has happened is around channel partnership. So a lot of smaller partners who are kind of resellers and part of the channel program have been asked to discontinue. They have been removed from the channel partnership. What this basically means is the customers of VMware have now limited options in terms of going to the right partner for support and their procurement requirements. Now, all the customers of VMware are at a very critical strategic decision point. Okay, so what are the options which customers like you have, right? One of them is very straightforward. If you want to continue using VMware, of course you will have to pay the higher cost, whether it's 200% or even higher, whatever is it, you will have to pay the higher cost. The second thing which a lot of customers are actually thinking and kind of exploring is what are the alternatives to VMware. Okay, so if I may ask you, apart from VMware, any other hypervisor that anyone is aware of? Okay, Nutanix, very nice. Perfect. Yes. Proxmox, anyone heard of? Hyper-V? Okay. There are multiple alternatives available, okay, and customers are wanting to explore what those alternatives are. And the third and very important option which customers are considering is migrating to cloud and considering cloud-native technologies. Now, in the last 1.5 years when these changes have happened, right, we've spoken to probably 150 plus customers in India, and all of them have been significantly impacted, and we are seeing a strong trend towards adopting cloud native services, moving towards something which is going to be futuristic, which is going to support them in their long-term modernization journey and not have the feeling of vendor lock-in. People are wanting to kind of decide on their long-term VMware strategy, and cloud is one of the best alternatives that we are seeing customers kind of choose and pick. Okay, the market dynamics and sentiments are definitely changing. In fact, the recent Gartner community poll which was done, 74% of the existing VMware customers have said that they are wanting to explore alternatives to VMware. Okay. And another prediction which Gartner has done is 95% of the new digital workloads are going to be deployed on cloud native platforms. What this basically means is, if we don't adopt to a strategy which is aligned to where the industry is heading, okay, we are going to probably lose the race. The industry is clearly heading towards adopting alternatives and cloud native technologies, and it is high time that we cannot deny the fact that if we don't act now, it might end up being too late. Well, I'm from AWS, so I'm kind of expected to have at least one slide on what AWS does. But I would want to kind of urge you all to just think from purely data and statistics point of view, right? So when you're making a decision in terms of which cloud service provider you want to kind of partner with, I urge you all to ask a few questions to yourself. Firstly, who is the longest standing cloud provider, has 18 years of experience helping customers migrate and modernize their workloads? The other thing is, who has the global reach required to kind of help and support all your end customers, no matter in which part of the world they are? With, of course, all the right resiliency, all the right high availability and security built in to kind of support your end customer requirements. Which is the only cloud provider which has probably 300 plus security features to kind of ensure your workloads are running securely on cloud? Who is the most innovative cloud provider with 250 plus services, no matter what kind of workload you are running? We have a service to kind of cater to your requirements. Any cloud provider which has 850 plus instance types, no matter what kind of CPU, RAM or storage requirements you might have, we can kind of support your requirements to that. Probably, and this is something which I am personally very proud of, the only cloud provider which believes in passing benefits of all the innovation that we do, all the optimizations we do in the infrastructure level, all the gains that we get because of economies of scale, we believe in passing them back to the end customers. The only cloud provider which has reduced the cost of our services 134 times in probably the last 15-18 years. And goes without saying, the only cloud provider which is a leader in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for last 14-15 consecutive years, right? So these are few just data points whenever you kind of are exploring options where you would want to run your VMware workloads when exploring the cloud options, could probably help you make your decisions. But any AWS customers here already, anyone who uses AWS? Fantastic, I see a few hands up. You are purely on-prem, if I may ask you, sir?
Yes.
Only on-prem, okay. Cool. Moving on, when we started talking to our customers about what they want to eventually do with their workload because of all the changes and the uncertainty which is there, what customers came and told back is three major concerns, which are kind of highlighted in the slide. The first one is about how complex or how big the migration would be, something which is not very clear to them. And they don't know what the overall impact of this migration would be in their day-to-day running of the business. What we have come up with is purpose-built services and tools to kind of expedite your migrations, to kind of support you in ensuring there is a minimal disruption to your business while migrating the workloads to cloud. And I'm going to talk more about what are those purpose-built technologies. Customers are worried about what the cost impact would be when they migrate or do a large-scale migration to cloud, right? What are the initial investments they would want to kind of put in? This is where we bring in our funding and incentives program and help customers absorb that developable cost during those migrations. And what these programs are, of course, we're going to talk about that in subsequent slides. Thirdly, all this while your resources have been using vSphere, they have been vSphere admins, right? They have been using vSphere technology, VMware technologies for quite some time. Suddenly we are moving them to cloud. What happens? How do we reskill them? We have multiple and comprehensive training programs through which we can help all the resources be trained in the cloud native technologies and help bridge the gap. And again, what those are, we are going to talk about it. Now let's talk about what are the VMware based workloads, what are different pathways which are available for customers to choose from when they are exploring AWS as one of the alternatives. If you see at the bottom, the most easiest and the lift and shift option that we're talking to customers customers is Amazon EC2. So what basically it means is your existing VM running on ESXi host in on-premises, we are doing a lift and shift and running it on EC2 VM on AWS cloud. Now, there are a lot of customers who have affinity towards containers. There are a lot of customers who would prefer running their workloads on a managed service, right? When we say a managed service, services like RDS, services like our EKS containers, ECS containers, right? When customers have affinity towards these services, we have our offerings where we kind of help work with the customer to re-platform them. This might require some work to be done at the application level as well, but we along with the partners come in, help you re-platform those applications onto either containers or managed services. And in order to get the best ROI of cloud, we have all the modern services that we call. Basically, you can build your application, run it as a code in a serverless service like AWS Lambda, and get the true benefit of actually just using the service when there is an API call, only paying for when you are actually getting those API calls, right? So the true ROI and benefits of cloud comes into play when you actually move towards modern applications. Now, a lot of customers actually want to still run an on-premises environment, and the reason being, customers have requirements around data residency. Customers have requirements around low latency. So when this happens, we also have an offering where you can run AWS services in your own on-premises environment, and we call this as AWS Outpost. So the managed services that we spoke about, the containers that we spoke about, EC2 that we spoke about, all of those can actually be run in your own on-premises environment as well, and on top of it, basically migrating your VMware workloads onto the AWS Outpost. In fact, we also have partner offerings. So you spoke about Nutanix. Nutanix, Red Hat are one of the important alternatives which customers are exploring for their VMware workloads. We have partnership with them, and we have a couple of services. One is Nutanix Cloud Cluster on AWS. We also have Red Hat OpenShift on AWS, right? If you are exploring those partner offerings to be run on AWS cloud, we have a solution for those as well. Now, let's do an apple-to-apple comparison very quickly on the different VMware core technologies and how they map to AWS services. On the top, you see the vCenter. I'm sure a lot of VMware customers would be using vCenter already. The exact replica that we have in AWS is called as AWS Console. It's a single pane view for accessing all the information, for accessing all your resources, and it's the landing page for doing that, similar to vCenter. In VMware world, what we call as a VM, in AWS world, what we call it as Amazon EC2. I spoke about NSX. NSX is nothing but virtualization of networking in the VMware world. Similarly, on AWS, we have something called as VPC, Amazon Virtual Private Cloud, where you can run all your resources in a virtual cloud environment, secured the way you have kind of configured. Similarly, vSAN, the similar mapping on AWS is something called as EBS, which is our highly performant scalable block storage service. And of course, at the bottom, there is all the infrastructure, and the best part about this is in AWS, we provide the infrastructure managed by AWS itself. Now, let's talk about a couple of migration options, right? Now, a lot of customers who weren't aware of what the impact would be come to us during the last moment and tell us, help us, we have a couple of months left, how can you help us move off AWS, right? We have something called as a near-term rapid migration program, where we do a rapid assessment of their entire existing portfolio. It doesn't involve going to a lot of details, but we do have tools where we do a rapid assessment. We help customers build a landing zone very quickly on AWS. We help customers do a lift and shift migration, and at the same time then consistently be able to operate and optimize in the long run. So this is a quick, easy way of moving off your workloads from on-premises to AWS. And of course, we have AWS professional services and partners who can do this, partners like Complino. And for customers who are looking at a full-fledged migration program, we have a comprehensive program which we cover in probably 3 different phases. So this is what we call as our migration acceleration framework. During the assess phase, what we do is we do a detailed discovery of your entire application, your entire on-premises estate, and we build something called as a TCO and a business case for you to go and take it back to your board and get a buy-in in terms of the overall readiness and acceptance of moving to cloud. We also do something called as MRA, which Concluding team is also going to talk about, but it's more of migration readiness that okay, all the good and the best practices of moving to cloud are kind of checkbox, and we are now ready to start a journey of when they have the right skill sets when they are migrating to cloud. This also involves setting up your entire landing zone. So when we say landing zone, it also includes everything around security, everything around networking designs, management, everything needs to be in place, right? So this is all we cover in the mobilize phase, and finally comes the migrate and modernize, where the actual migration of your workloads is happening from on-premises to AWS. Now, talking about a very important assessment that we do with our customers. This is an extremely important assessment. We call it something as optimization, licensing and optimization and licensing assessment. This is one thing which I would urge you all to take away from today. This is a free of cost, fully funded assessment that we do for our customers. In this assessment, what we are basically doing is we are assessing your entire on-premises infrastructure, and we are coming up with recommendations on how you can optimize your compute, how you can optimize your storage, how you can optimize your licensing costs as well. Okay? We clearly try and understand what your migration and licensing strategy is, and we give you recommendations in terms of how you can bring in those licenses either to cloud, or is there a way where you can actually not bring those licenses and use something else and move to a more modern architecture on cloud, right? All of these assessments are something that we do during this free of cost, fully funded program with our customers. If you have not started or not explored anything, my request would be to reach out to Comprino. This is the first thing that probably we can immediately start doing with you to get a full understanding of how your existing on-prem estate looks like and what are the possible optimizations that you can look at to gain all the required benefits. Now, customers who do Ola with us, the benefits are kind of clearly mentioned on the slide. We did not kind of look at the numbers, but customers have clearly called out that they were able to do a lot more migrations when they did Ola, because they were very aware of what their on-prem estate looked like and what they were going into. We were able to do faster migrations, and at the same time we were able to save substantially in terms of cost as well before migrating to cloud, because of on-prem preparation, everything was done during the Ola exercise itself. Now, this is one of our flagship programs. Imagine we have 18 years of experience of migrating customers from on-prem to AWS. Now, all of these learnings are kind of built in together into a program called as a migration acceleration program. Now, what this program is basically, we help our customers in basically giving them 3 things back, right? One is the right tools and automations when they are doing their migrations. The second thing, which of course a lot of customers want, is how do we get access to the right experts, how do we get access to the right partners, is something which we cover as part of this program. And the third thing is financial incentive, right? Commercial incentives, benefits for the end customers. So a lot of this double cost while doing these migrations are kind of act as an additional burden for the customers, and this is what we try and absorb during the MAP program. And of course, similar benefits, but we've seen that customers who leverage our design framework for doing migrations have been able to get better business agility, they are able to get better cost savings, at the same time they are able to see their staff being a lot more productive. I spoke about training and support, but when we talk about migrations, everyone knows this is not only about technology. Okay, people is a very important aspect. If our people are not skilled, not trained, we might not end up doing our day-to job of operating well on AWS cloud. Right? And that is where we come up with multiple programs, a very comprehensive list of programs to help our vSphere admins to be able to learn technologies which are cloud native and be able to operate in the cloud world, right? And we have 600 plus on-demand courses which are available in our skill builders, which customers can go and learn at their own time. There are 1,000 plus probably labs which are available, which customers can test it out in their own time. We also do a lot of instructor-led classroom trainings for our customers, where we bring in our AWS experts, go to the customer environment, talk to them, understand with them, do hands-on exercises with them, kind of get accustomed with the service that they are wanting to explore. And of course, there are multiple AWS certifications a lot of you would be aware of that customers can take to validate their skills. Again, this is important for a lot of engineers to kind of build that domain expertise in one or two areas that they're kind of interested in. Now, very important, there are quite a few purpose-built tools that we have to kind of help you in your entire migration journey. Okay. One important tool which our customers have been using for some time is the application migration service. Okay. So think of, you have a server in the on-premises world. You are trying to kind of replicate everything in the cloud environment, including the state of the machine, including all the data that it has, and kind of operating that same machine in the cloud environment. For this, and you have thousands of servers to do this, right? A scalable service which can do this very effectively is application migration service. However, I would actually want to spend some time on AWS Transform for VMware, and I'm very glad, I'm very happy to introduce all of you to AWS Transform for VMware. This is a service which I feel is groundbreaking. This is the first agentic AI service that has been built to help customers migrate their VMware on-premises environment onto cloud. This is a service which does all the heavy lifting for you. We have 15 plus years of experience of helping VMware customers move from on-prem to AWS cloud, right? And remember, all of this experience kind of built in to build those domain expert agents to kind of interact with each other and performing those complex tasks for you is actually something which no one has been able to do, and this is where we kind of come in to help you achieve this through AWS Transform. Now imagine when you run AWS Transform, a lot of things happen, right? AWS Transform will have to do a detailed discovery of your on-premises environment. You will have to understand what kind of applications, databases, licenses that you have in the on-premises world. It will automatically do a complete application mapping dependencies. It will also build the wave plans for you. It will also calculate what your future state cost on AWS would look like, and also help you in the migration, right? So some of the customers that we have tried this and we have been talking to about AWS Transform, what we have heard is there was 100% accuracy in terms of doing an entire VMware estate discovery. There was 90% benefit which customers have seen in terms of migrating to cloud, and there was 80% better staff productivity or lower time from staff that they've seen because of doing this migration through AWS Transform. Maybe what I'll do is I'll not talk much here, but I would want to play this video for all of you. It's a quick 2-3 minute video, but it will kind of enlighten all of you.
To succeed in business, you need the ability to adapt to market changes and foster innovation. A move to AWS empowers you to improve business agility, drive innovation, and reduce costs. But large VMware modernization projects can be complex and time-consuming. Enter Amazon Q Developer, the first generative AI-powered assistant for large-scale migration and modernization of VMware workloads. It uses AI-powered agents to simplify and automate the migration of VMware workloads to Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, EC2. To get started, simply chat with the Q Developer agent to start a transformation job. Once you start the job, Q Developer creates a job plan. It dynamically updates the job plan adding new steps based on continuous learning. To provide on-premises server inventory and network data, upload exports from tools such as RP tools, or use AWS Application Discovery Services collectors. QDeveloper analyzes the discovered data, classifies it, and provides a summary that includes data completeness indicators. Once ready, send to QDeveloper to generate the application groupings and weight plans. QDeveloper uses graph neural networks to generate a recommendation for application groupings and weight planning. You can download the weight plan, edit it, and then upload the changed versions to QDeveloper. At any time, you can review progress in the Work Log tab. QDeveloper translates your uploaded network configuration to generate your AWS network, including VPCs, subnets, security groups, and transit gateways. QDeveloper also generates infrastructure as code, cloud formation, and AWS Cloud Development Kit or CDK templates for the AWS network, deploys the generated network, and verifies its reachability. For each wave, you can set EC2 preferences, such as performance-based instance sizing criteria and tenancy options for QDeveloper to make EC2 recommendations. QDeveloper combines the generated artifacts, including the weight plan, the AWS network configuration, and the EC2 sizing recommendations to generate a comprehensive migration plan. You can edit this plan and upload it to Q to initiate server migration with AWS Application Migration Service. The job dashboard provides a detailed view of job progress, including waves, applications, servers, and networks migrated. Migrate VMware workloads faster, lower costs, and drive innovation with Amazon QDeveloper. Get started today.
While the video would say Amazon QDeveloper Transform, we have kind of rebranded it to Amazon AWS Transform now. So just so that everyone doesn't get confused. But we have customers who have migrated 500 plus VMs in less than 4 weeks very confidently from on-premises to AWS Cloud using Transform. A lot of customers are today actually trying to use AWS Transform to expedite their migrations. Okay, switching gears here, we've understood everything about migration, why, what, how. Now let's talk about modernization, right? But when I say modernization, I would want to actually hear from you, what does it mean to you? Anything that comes to your mind when you hear the term modernization? I know it's late evening, but I would request for participation from everyone.
We want to change our legacy systems.
Absolutely, sir. Moving away from legacy systems.
Stacks which are from server to serverless kind of approach.
Super awesome. Moving to serverless. Anything from this side?
Microservices.
Microservices. Perfect. Thank you, sir.
Event driven.
Event driven. Perfect. Anything over there?
Streaming.
Security.
Better security. Yes. So, how I would want to define modernization is basically think about any kind of transformation that you are doing to your workload, that you are doing to your infrastructure, which results into, let's say, either improving the overall business agility, either getting more business value for your end customers, either, as I said, reducing technical debt. Let's say you said about containers, right? You said about microservices. Let's say either moving into cloud native services, and all of it kind of somehow related to reducing your overall cost, right? If we talk about all of this and the end goal is this, we can call it as modernization. Modernization is not a technology, it's a journey, right? It's not something you can achieve immediately. It's a journey that we'll have to walk together to reach the end state. But this is the only true way you can take full advantage of cloud, right? When we talk about modernization, we kind of talk about moving our legacy Windows applications and SQL databases through 3 different transformations. The first one is very simple, straightforward, which is called as rehost, where you're bringing your same Windows application as it is, running it on an EC2 self-managed instance on Windows, and operating the same way with no code change required at all. Similarly, the same SQL database, you're kind of just lifting and shifting to an Amazon EC2 instance and self-managing it is what basically rehost is. As you would have rightly guessed, it's not probably there yet, right? It's not, we cannot call it modernized, but you can definitely think of it as the first step that you've taken towards your modernization journey. And then comes refactoring or replatforming. Replatforming, as sir over here rightly said, we are talking about containerizing our applications. We are talking about microservices. We are talking about replatforming it to a managed service from AWS, right? This is where ECS, EKS, Fargate, Amazon RDS all comes into play. And when we say a managed service, it's basically something which is taking, doing a lot of the work that you do in the on-premises world. We are kind of taking that effort away from you. We are managing the infrastructure, taking care of patching, provisioning, backups, all of that is taken care of AWS, and this is where we call it as a managed service. And finally, refactoring is moving, as one of you rightly said, serverless services, right? Building your entire application as a code, it will actually require you to refactor your application. There is effort involved. But once you do that, you will be able to take, as the slide says, right, full advantage of cloud. Similarly, moving away from all the license-based commercial applications or databases that you have to something called as more open source, which is more highly performant, scalable, and can be run on services like Aurora or DynamoDB, or a graph-based solution like Amazon Neptune, or a data warehousing solution like Amazon Redshift. Now, you see something as .NET over here, right? I want to understand, folks who said you're using VMware in on-premises world, how many of you are actually running Windows as well in on-premises? I'm sure it is all. There would be Windows present, I'm pretty sure. But any rough guess you want to take in terms of what would be your overall Windows and SQL licensing cost as a percentage of your overall IT budget? Just guess what it could be on an average for customers that we are talking to.
33 to 40%.
Super nice. You are bang on actually. So you are saying anywhere between 30 to 50% of the overall IT budget spent going into licensing cost, that is something that we are paying to Microsoft. Okay. Now imagine, everyone knows, right? We can move out of those licenses, and that is one important step towards modernization. But why are we not doing it? People are worried about time, effort, and kaun change karega. Not my headache right now, right? But imagine if you act as those leaders and go to your board and propose a 40% saving on the overall infrastructure cost. It's going to be a game changer. And all the efforts that you have worried about, that how do I do this, how do I move from Windows to Linux? When we say .NET to .NET Core, it's effectively moving from Windows to Linux. Anyone who has done this migration from .NET to .NET Core? Or even thought about doing this, or has this the roadmap? Awesome. You have already done the migration?
Yes, we are in process.
We are in the process. Super, super awesome. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Okay, if not, what mainly customers are worried about is there are two options. Either we take the approach where we directly enter into refactoring all the applications and moving in one go to modern applications, or we take a progressive modernization approach and do a rehost and replatform and eventually move towards refactoring. Both these are possible options. No one option is correct. It depends on what kind of a modernization strategy which the customers have. But this is something which customers are wanting to embark on because of the tremendous cost savings and business benefits that it brings along with it. And again, I'm very happy to let you all know that the same AWS transform that we spoke about for VMware is now capable to also port your .NET framework into .NET Core. Basically, it means we are helping customers move from Windows to Linux. Okay, and once you are on Linux, How many of you have heard of Graviton? Anyone who has heard of Graviton, tried Graviton? But if any one of you are using Linux today, you can actually go and try Graviton, which is our AWS's ARM-based processors. Okay, we believe and we kind of claim this, and our customers have confirmed there is a 30 to 50% price performance benefit that we see from customers who are moving into Graviton, right? So not just licensing costs that you are going away with, but you're coming to Windows and then you are embarking on the Graviton journey, which is further saving 30 to 50% of their cost. But a very quick video on the .NET porting capability. This is going to be my last slide. Thank you so much for your participation. I'll let this video play. But few key takeaways. The changes which are happening from Broadcom are really significant. My humble request is to reach out to Comprino and your account reps to kind of talk about doing an OLA assessment. It is very important that we start this journey early so that there are no last minute hiccups. And there are multiple programs that you should be talking about to Comprino. MAP is one of them which will give you the right kind of incentives. And of course, AWS will always be there for any kind of help that you need. Sorry, with that I just play this video, and next I would welcome Sudhanshu.
Legacy.NET applications burden organizations with high licensing costs and outdated technology, but the lengthy manual modernization processes often delay innovation. Enter Amazon Q Developer, the first generative AI-powered assistant for large-scale porting of .NET applications. It uses AI-powered agents guided by users to tackle complex projects, driving speed, quality, and collaboration. To get started with a web experience, select .NET Transformation or use chat to tell Q Developer your goals. Q will then help you set up a modernization project. Connect your GitHub repository. Q Developer scans your linked repository, finds suitable projects, and lets you customize selections. Choose projects to modernize with admin approval. Once approved, the agent automatically ports your .NET applications to the selected version, from Windows to Linux. You can monitor the transformation's progress via the dashboard and work logs. Q Developer commits the transform code to a new branch in your repository once a task is complete, preserving the original source code. Amazon Q Developer transformation capabilities enable you to plan and execute .NET porting of hundreds of applications simultaneously. This can accelerate your transformation process by up to 4 times and reduce Windows Server licensing costs by up to 40%. The same capabilities are also available within the Visual Studio IDE for transforming specific applications. Get started with Amazon Q Developer today.
Good evening, everyone. I think you made a lot of effort to drive through this evening traffic all around. I was coming from Pune and it was really tough on the University Road. So I really appreciate you being here. And I think last 1 hour gave a bit of talk on the VMWARE migration. What I'm here is to take you through the modernization lens of through the GenAI. So I'm sure everyone in this room have heard of what generative AI is. And what I'm going to attempt is to take you through multiple generative AI offerings that we have within AWS and how it can help you improve your customer experience, your employee productivity, and then help in your transformation journey. My name is Sudhanshu Hate. I am Principal Architect with AWS, and I work with our customers in India to help them advise on GenAI. And obviously before GenAI, AI. So AWS has a very, very broad offering in the GenAI space, and it's going to be difficult to cover all of that within the next 30 minutes. What I'm going to cover is primarily key building blocks that are part of AWS offering, and then we'll take it from there. So as you see, generative AI has been there for last 3 years. Almost March 23 is when the ChatGPT came out, and since then things have really picked up. Year 23 was primarily the year of POC. In 24, a lot of projects started happening. The POC started getting manifested into projects, and the year 25 is where a lot of customers like you are looking for the business value. Where is my dollar? Where is the return on investment, right? So we have CFO in the room from Compino, and I have been having a very good conversation with him where he starts to question each and every dollar spent in terms of what is my return on investment. I'm sure every organization has their CFOs asking, okay, where is my dollar being spent and what return on investment I'm getting. So if you see, 80% or more organizations have started adopting generative AI. They are seeing the value, they are seeing the business, and by 2026 this is going to grow further in terms of adoption, in terms of penetration, and this penetration is across business processes, across applications, and so on and so forth. And when you are on the modernization journey, it is very important to have generative AI angle your whole thing, because now you have moved from VMWARE and you have refactored, you have re-engineered your stuff, you are running probably as a microservices architecture, container architecture, and how do you now take this to your next way in terms of how do you improve your customer experience, how do you improve your employee productivity, your own productivity. That's where the generative AI is going to help. So if you broadly look at how the AWS stack looks like, is primarily there are 4 or 5 important blocks here. So the bottommost, if you see, is the infrastructure layer. Infrastructure includes hardware as well as software components. So from the hardware perspective, you see there are different chips, with Trinium, Inferentia, which are our native chips that help you improve performance, throughput, and stuff. Then on the right hand side, if you see on the bottom side, there is SageMaker, which helps you cleanse data, build models, train models, and then deploy models. So it's a lot more a tooling that is available to you to help build AI. Then there is a Bedrock component. Sanket talked about a lot of managed component, managed services. So Bedrock is one of the managed service where you need a lot of LLMs, a lot of models similar to the ChatGPT model or GPT model available to you. These models are not only from Amazon but also from our third-party providers, where you can hit with a prompt and get the answer back. Primarily pay-as-you-go type of model. So you are primarily charged based on number of invocations, number of calls you would make. And then there is a lot of other capabilities that Bedrock helps you with in terms of building your GenAI functionality, be it guardrails, be it the agent development through the agent core framework, and so on and so forth. Recently, we have released a lot of open source angle to this agentic development through our Strand framework and agent core framework that helps you access any model that is available, be it our own models or open source models that are available on Greenface and other places. So you can pretty much access any model here through either SDKs or through directly calling those providers through an API call. And then the topmost stack was primarily for the ready-made applications, which are primarily agentic applications. So AWS Transform, something Sanket talked about for migration. So that is one of the manifestation of agent which is being used to deliver the aid experience. Similarly, there are the other component like Amazon Connect as well as Kiro, which is a code generation tool. So if you have developers, engineers who are writing code and you want to improve their productivity, Kiro would help you build that part of code, primarily Python code or TypeScript kind of thing. This is broadly the architecture and multiple components that you can use. You don't have to necessarily adopt everything depending on what your needs are. You can pick and choose some of the components from this architecture. any of these components kind of resonate with you, or you're already using as part of your current work within your organization?
No, but I have a question on that OSS part.
Sure, absolutely. You can pick up the mic so that everybody else in the room can.
So who will take care of the security part for that OSS?
Okay.
And how hardening is done
Okay.
by AWS
Okay.
before?
So open source is the component that is, but when you run that, it is run within the AWS ecosystem, and the security and all the other things are supported and provided from the AWS ecosystem. Yes, sir.
As we moved into a SaaS-based generative AI as a platform, not as a platform, but as a service, we thought it would be better because half the time we were dealing with IP. So we didn't have all the time to kind of analyze the stack, develop one, maintain one.
Absolutely. So if you are primarily interested in SaaS-based kind of service, then typically you would look at the, typically you would look at the top component, the top layers, which is the applications layer that is laid out there. And if you want to go one layer below the SaaS, right, you can also look at some of these model and the managed capability that is available with the Bedrock. So you can also customize the foundation model with your data. So if you are from what industry you are?
So it's automotive.
Automotive. So if you have automotive data and you want to use that data, train the foundation model or fine-tune the foundation model, and then expose it to your end customers or use it within your organization, you can do that and then make it available as a SaaS. So the combination of this Bedrock capability as well as the SageMaker capability can help you do that.
So gateway is the AI gateway or it's API gateway?
So it's a API gateway primarily for the agent core. Typically in AWS you have a gateway service. Similarly, for the agentic framework you have a gateway service that allows you to make calls. Because here what you are talking to is not only the models which are within AWS ecosystem, but also models outside. So you need a
Secure gateway.
orchestrator. Absolutely. Anything else? Anybody else has any questions? Does this make sense? Because this is the crux of the whole thing. From now on, whatever we are going to talk is primarily the details of each of these components. So if this kind of resonates with you or you understand this slide, you have kind of conquered what is there from GenAI perspective, at least 50% of what AWS has to offer.
Cloud AI also there. no?
Sorry?
Cloud AI. Cloud.
I-
Cloud AI.
Claude is
Okay, Claude. So Claude is one of the models. So if you look at these models, there are these 3P models. So Anthropic's Claude models are available through those 3P models. So Amazon Nova are the models that are available from Amazon side, whereas the Claude is the model that are available from the side. Okay, so let's move on quickly in terms of, so the next important part is obviously if your business is very important from the data availability perspective, you need these services to be available within the region, be it Mumbai region or any other region that you are eating. This gives you a kind of landscape of multiple regions. Obviously each service you will have to look at where that service, because not all services will be available in all the region. But that's one of the important aspects when you are considering the whole thing. So when you look at generative AI and you're looking at Bedrock, in your modernization journey, you are primarily looking at it from these three perspectives. One is to improve your end customer experience, improve your employee productivity, or optimize the business process. Obviously, when you optimize your business process, you make it more agile, you improve your overall organization's agility and effectiveness. Now, foundation model is the key building block or the key thing within the Bedrock ecosystem, and you have several choices. So Anthropic, as we talked about, is one of the important model provider. And when you build your generative AI stuff, you don't necessarily need to rely on a model, but also you need a lot of other stuff around it, like you need the ability to evaluate model because you are currently working with several models, at least 50 managed models, and then there are thousands of models which are outside of the managed ecosystem. right? So how do you choose which is the right model? And that's where you need the model evaluation tool. And then you also have other capabilities like you can bring in external model, you can use capabilities like marketplace. Once you choose the model, you have to have a lot of other stuff, like some of the things that you mention is what happens to my safety, security, what happens to the guardrails part of it, that whatever input you are sending to a model, whatever output you are getting, whether all of that is protected, whether anybody is trying to get in and send some corrupted data or trying to read PII data from your organization's data, all of that you can actually take care through the safety and responsible AI checks. When you deploy those models or agents within the Bedrock, you also want to scale those based on demand, that so that you can serve your customers depending on how the scale is and you address your customer queries. Now these are almost 12 providers that are available within the Bedrock ecosystem that independently provide their models, and we have curated these providers. There are obviously around 40 to 50 models across these 12 providers in the space of text, image, video. So you can create text-based content, you can create image-based content, or you can create video-based content and use these providers' capabilities. Each of these providers have different kinds of model. So depending on your use case, business case, you can consume these model and use it and integrate it within your business processes. So Amazon Nova is the model that is available from the Amazon ecosystem, or which is our own developed model. So these models again go across text, vision, as well as video use cases. So as you can see, the Nova Micro is the smallest and lightest model. It is the low cost and high latency model, whereas if you move on the right hand side, you will see the intelligence will increase. So Nova Premier is the highly intelligent, but it will have higher latency because of the footprint of the model. Then these are some of the other capabilities which are required to build RAG-based application. RAG is primarily retrieval augmented generation capability that you may like to build, and you need a lot of stuff, be it vector databases, and there are several vector databases as you can see here, MongoDB and Python and so on and so forth. And you also need a lot of other OpenSearch and other stuff and other databases that are required to help you build. So it is primarily giving you choices, be it from Amazon or be it from the third party. You can choose any one of these open source or vector databases and build your RAG use cases. Now, you also need to fine tune your model, like the telco case that we discussed. And when you are fine tuning, there are multiple approaches to fine tuning. You can do fine tuning using complete continued pre-training, or you can just fine tune certain layers of the model and use that. But before fine tuning, you can also try to optimize your prompt, or you can use RAG-based approaches to get to your outputs. So those are some of the approaches that are available to you, and as you get into from left to right, your cost will increase, but your quality of output will also improve. So this is one more option that is available to you. So you can import outside models. So if something that you would have built onto your EC2 ecosystem or on a on-premise, if you have trained any model or fine-tuned your model, you can bring that within the Bedrock ecosystem. You can import that model and start consuming that AI model. This is the capability that is primarily to evaluate the model. So you can evaluate multiple models because there are so many choices that it is important to evaluate those models. You can send the prompts and evaluate it for accuracy, toxicity, and other attributes of your model evaluation framework. So Bedrock provides you this standard out-of-the-box model evaluation framework that you can use and benchmark your model outside of the standard benchmarks that are available. We also provide standard data sets. So if you have your data set, you can bring in those data sets. or you can use the data sets that are available on the Bedrock ecosystem. And then when you consume these models, you need obviously the most optimum way to consume this. The consumption could be on demand, or it could be through the batch inference, or it could be through provision. So we can get into the details if any of these is something that you are interested in. Now, there are a lot of other cost optimization capabilities that are available on Bedrock, and but again, depending on your interest, we can get into the details because these are more architectural detailed conversations in terms of how you optimize the cost. But these are the levers available to you to improve and improve the cost. So distillation is one of the techniques that is available to you when you are fine-tuning model. It is primarily a architectural pattern where student-teacher type of technique is used to train your model so that you transfer the knowledge from a larger model to a smaller model. Now agentic AI, obviously all of you would have heard the agentic AI term. It is primarily moving very fast, and agentic AI is automating a lot of stuff, right? So from the human oversight to a less human oversight is where the agentic AI space is moving, and it is bringing a lot of autonomy to the whole business process. So right from building generative AI systems, which are kind of rule-based, to building automating entire workflow to a multi-agent autonomous system is where the agentic AI systems are moving. And you can use Bedrock agents, and there are multiple flavors of those agents that will help you build this. So enterprises are doubling down on agents. So from 33% of enterprise software which are including agentic AI by 2028 is the stats that we have today. So today it is just 1% of the enterprise that is using agentic AI. By 2028 it is expected to be 33%, and 50% of our day-to-day work is going to get automated by that. So it has a big role to play in your modernization journey, in your re-platforming, re-engineering, refactoring decisions. Agents help you to refactor, re-engineer, and modernize your workloads. So there are some of the use cases across industries where agentic AI is applicable. So depending on whether you are from manufacturing or financial services, there are a lot of use cases that are being tried by a lot of customers, and they are deriving a lot of business benefits by using agentic AI. Now, obviously, Bedrock Agent Core is a new framework that we released almost 3 weeks before as part of Neon Summit, and it provides you significant advantages in this space in terms of be it flexibility, be it building a trust through deploying the secure agents, and also improving your time to value. Now, obviously, safety and responsibility and the security is the most important dimension. So, right from the PI data to ensuring how do we ensure all the foundational model interactions are properly logged. How can you maintain consistent data and network security control? So all of these questions come to you when you are dealing with GenAI applications. And when you are dealing with these GenAI applications, all these questions AWS takes care of. Obviously, it is a shared responsibility model, as you know, where certain responsibilities are shared by AWS and certain responsibilities are shared by the customer. So from data perspective, none of your data is used to train the underlying model. So if you are sending a prompt and if you have a concern that whether my prompt data would be used to train the underlying foundation model, no, it will not be used to train the underlying foundation model. If you are fine-tuning the model, you bring in your data, that data is not used, it is not retained. As soon as your fine-tuning exercise is done, that data is removed and no footprint is kept. Also, when you are enabling anything within your region, it remains within your region, and the model choices also helps you decide to understand each which models end user license agreement and accordingly sign up for that. So you have complete control, complete freedom in terms of choosing what model you are using, what are the conditions you are getting into, and what. Similarly, the data is encrypted when it is traveling between your node to the model or to the bedrock, and it is encrypted with the ES256 standard. It is also encrypted at rest. Obviously, you can use KMS, which is a key management software, to encrypt stuff and keep it. And the same thing is true for fine-tuning models. And then finally, in terms of compliances, Bedrock is compliant with several compliance standards, be it EBA, be it SOC 123 compliance, or be it the PCI standards needed for the financial industry. So you get a fairly compliant product in terms of compliance ready stuff. Guardrails is another capability that is available in Bedrock that helps remove any attacks, be it through the injection, similar to signal injection attacks, or the prompt injection attacks, or as well as the output that the models are throwing. They are also filtered in case if you want to filter for the PI data and any other sensitive data that you don't want going to your end customers. Now this is how you look at your security and compliance landscape, right from your data is never shared with the foundation model provider. It is always encrypted. It is always available to you through the troubleshooting mechanism. Also the compliances we talked about. We can use the GDPR compliance as well as all the other compliance standards that are available to you. So with that, I will now invite my colleague, founder from Compreno, Prasad, and take you through the next segment of the conversation. If you have any questions, we can always take it during the drinks and the dinner time. Thank you so much.
Here are the slides. So, good evening, everybody. So I know Sanket and Sudhanshu have been very, very detailed about what are the possibilities of AWS and how you can get things from on-prem to AWS and how helpful it is. I think it was a very deep dive into the possibilities with VMware, with modernization, with AI/ML and things. I'm not going to talk any of this. I think we have enough of it, correct? So I'm going to be talking more about how do you do it. You know it now, correct? Sanket has talked about so many things which is possible. Sudhanshu talked about so many AI things, but you have to do it, correct? And knowing the headers is good, but going in the details is where the real crux comes. Okay? And which is where there is an ecosystem called AWS partner ecosystem, okay? Which is where partners play the role. And often partners are not seen. So they are basically acting behind the screen, working closely with you. The partner looks like this, so folded their sleeves, working with you in terms of how can we solve your next problem? How can you get to your next target? How can we make sure that your product goes online and you meet your time to market? So that is where partners come in. Partners are people who are working alongside you. Okay. And I'm a person who is presenting AWS partner full and soul at this time. Now I'll kind of try to take a little analogy since I am in Maharashtra and perhaps a lot of you are Maharashtrian and a lot of you know Pune Deshpande. How many of you know Pune Deshpande? A lot of them, correct? And those who don't know, Pune Deshpande is like a demigod in Maharashtra. He has created so much and so much related to all of us. So if you know Pune Deshpande, you must be knowing Narayan, a character, very famous character of Pune Deshpande, correct? So every time there is a marriage in the family, okay, suddenly this person becomes very, very important. Okay? The person takes the control of everything, correct? Starting from visiting the groom's family, making sure that the wedding cards are printed, caterers are closed, menu is decided, all kind of things which is happening. Somebody who is working behind the screen continuously, but kind of a single pole which is making the tent stand. And if you are able to relate to that analogy, then you can look at partner something like this. Partner is somebody who is working day and night, making sure that you get to know. You succeed. And you succeed through a channel which AWS has created for you. So there is always AWS behind us. AWS is giving the instructions, AWS is working with us, AWS is solutioning with us, and we are also, like partner has a very high bar, so we have to be equally competent in doing things. But there is one important thing all of you need to know is that as much AWS, and this is not in the negative line, like Sanket can talk about so many things and Sudhanshu can talk about 10,000 more things, but none of them can go open into your account and do something. They are legally not allowed to get into customers' environment and do things. It's only partners, the Narayan, which can get in and do the things for you. And I am that Narayan, okay? And I am that Narayan who can take you from your VMware environment to AWS. I am that Narayan who can take and optimize your VMware environment by almost 40%. Sometimes I don't know how to use this, but I believe I'm using it right. I'm not able to go to my next slide. Okay. So I am that Narayan which is going to be basically helping you get out of VMware, and I am here to appeal to all of you to start this. You have to choose between paying 4x to 6x with the new Broadcom license or licensing plan, or work with me and AWS and reduce your existing cost by 40%. Choice is yours. And this whole reason why we are here is to just talk about this slide, nothing else. So now, briefly, and I think since this event is coordinated very specifically to identify companies who are on VMware, correct, and educating them about what is the potential 4x to 6x cost escalation and how, as AWS and Complino, we can help you, is where. So why should you do that? I think we already talked about your possible escalation of 4x to 6x cost. But another thing, as we have been doing this kind of a migration for a long time, one of the biggest problems you would possibly not realize is that your innovation is stuck. If you are into data centers, if you are into the co-location centers, your innovation is stuck. And why it is stuck? It's like you are still playing with the Lego block which are only 2, 3 and which can only do 4 or 5 different formations. While AWS can give you 300 plus Lego blocks. Arrange it in a manner, your creativity is on the limit. And do solutioning. And do solutioning so fast, which is not comparable if you do it into data centers. So if your DNA of engineering and your DNA of solution architecting would basically thrive in the environment like this. So your innovation is the next thing. Another important thing, it is often misunderstood that cloud is costly. In fact, I will tell you is that if things are done right, correct? There was the Sanket talked about so much modernization which can possibly reduce your cost less than your cost of data center. Most of the time, all of us, and specifically the segment which you come from, has a lot of legacy applications which you are carrying. There's a lot of tech debt. Once we start chiseling out that tech debt, okay, and start shaping up those applications, give them all together new shape, this is going to be a transformation. And that transformation is not going to help you with the cost, it's going to help you with the better performance, agility, faster feature development, and the newer ideas which can lead business. And as IT leaders, which I know you must be already contributing in terms of how your actions, your initiatives are helping business to get extra dollar, you will be able to do far better in this particular direction. How do I move? Business drivers for cloud migration and modernization, I'll just not try to explain. I'll pause here for people to really do it if you want to take a snap of it. This is what I think your top management needs to be seen, a single slide. Why they should be moving to cloud. Very clear reason why an organization which is into data center has to think of cloud. And all of you know AI today. AI requires far more innovation, far better iterations, far faster iterations, far more solutioning. All that is possible only if you are into it. These are some of the numbers proven when you move to the cloud. And I have not picked it up just because I wanted on slide. These are coming from the independent study done by AWS to explain why industries which are stuck with the older setup should consider cloud. Now, you said yes, Prasad looks good. Perhaps I am convinced. But you know, I am alone cannot convince my management that how do I really do this. I need a business case. Correct? All of you need a business case. You can't go to a room, a cabin and say, hey, let's go to cloud. And then go and say, okay, chalo, let's get this budget. We need a business case, which is where we come. We will make business case with you. We are the equal partners making you win in front of your management, making you do the business case. We will do the TCO calculation for you. We will show you that how cost will change from year on year and how the saving will be seen over the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, up to 5 years. And not only that, we'll also show all of that. We will do all this, we will do it for you at no cost. No cost. Let me repeat, no cost. Thanks to AWS. Being one of their top partners, we have access to some of the best programs available today in AWS. We have access to all global programs. Whatever you are seeing here and heard here, we have access to all those programs to make it a reality. Let it be migration, let it be modernization, let it be GenAI, let it be BCP, let it be DR. You say it and we have it. And the story doesn't stop there. Like your LIC thing, correct? जीवन के साथ भी और जीवन के बाद भी. So we are with you for the migration and we are with you even after the migration. We have a very strong managed services practice and I'll talk about that. So we are not a point connect for you. We are your wholesale partner. Let it be migration, let it be modernization, let it be managed services, let it be compliance, let it be AI, let it be data analytics. You talk and we can fulfill the things. Okay? But the migration assessment is the starting point for you. This is where you should be starting. This is where we would want to work and collaborate with you. We would want to know that what is the inventory you have today in your co-location data center or your own data center. We want to study that inventory. We will do the TCO calculation. We will show you how exactly it works. All that within 4-6 weeks. And make a strong, presentable PPT like this, which you can take it to your manager. And we will rehearse it with you also. And if you want, we can be present there, if you allow us to make the story strong with your manager. So my appeal to all of you here is just get signed up for this migration system. Whether you're going to do migration or not, I'm not even talking about it. If there is a business case, there is a migration. If there is no business case, there is no migration. As simple as this. But if you don't do the business case and we don't do the assessment, you yourself will be blind to the possibilities. And that is the thing which we want to really. We want to work with you and just see. And if there is no business case, it's very clear. It doesn't make sense to do a migration. We just stop there. This is the same pitch what will come to you. So if you migrate, you do the assessment, and let's say you move to migration, then AWS is here. They are promising that as you migrate, 25% of what you spend on AWS will come back. Cashback scheme of AWS. You can use that cashback scheme. So first of all, we are showing you a lot of saving, plus cashback scheme, plus a partner who is putting professional services which otherwise are very premium services. We run a company where there is a very high density talent. We have 120 certification with just 60 people. Averagely, everybody has 2 to 3 certificates. That kind of a talent, you go out today, you can't get it tomorrow on your board. It's coming to you just today. So you get talent, you get professional services, you get funding, you get our professional services, you get further cashback from AWS. I don't see any reason why to say no for this. So the MAP program, which basically calls Migration Acceleration Program of AWS, allows you basically. It's basically AWS ways to incentivize for you to come out of your legacy setup and adopt cloud in big way. Get into cloud. And once you are in the cloud, believe me, you will not go back. Once you eat Chitre, you will not eat any other brand. Correct? Chitre's Amba Burfi is the one. You will not like any other Amba Burfi. So once you are in AWS, you won't be back. That's my guarantee. And I'll make sure that you get the experience. And AWS will also make sure that you will get that experience. Only thing is that you have to step in one step and test the Amba Burfi, which is what the migration assessment is. Do the assessment, see the business case, and then potentially get a 25% discount cashback from AWS. So far I've been talking about the program, about the possibilities, about how partner is an Narayan for you who can actually do so many things and still make sure that your marriage is successful and just fade away. Correct? As soon as the marriage is over. Perhaps this Narayan will not fade away because after the marriage, after the migration, we'll do modernization. We'll also do so many old things parallelly with you. Okay. But this is a little bit about Comprino. So we are on AWS top partners. So we are about to be AWS premium partner. So that is the last mountain to conquer. And today, if I know the statistics right, since the existence of AWS, last time in 2024, there are some globally 125 premium partners. Right? So we expected to grow that number by another 10 to 15 this year. And that puts us into 0.1% club. So AWS has today globally 100,000 partners. Out of 100,000 partners, potentially there will be less than 150 premium partners. And we are poised to become one. So AWS has a very strong criteria. I said the bars are very high. We have made all the necessary criteria to be a premium partner, but we have to maintain those criteria for 6 months. So we are on that period to make sure that we maintain it. Okay? And we are very confident that we would be. Okay? So this is little about Comprino. We've been fortunate alongside AWS working with some of the very big brands in India on startup side as well as on the mid-market and also on the enterprises side. Some of this brand I have put in here because you might know, like, you know Zepto. Zepto uses one of our compute platform, very specific IP, which is a EKS-based, Kubernetes-based platform. All of you must be using Zepto. If you are using Zepto, you can imagine Comprino behind somewhere our compute is running. In fact, BigBasket uses us. There are some of the known. If you are using Boat is our client. Boat has no DevOps team on their own. They have no solution team on their own. Comprino is the sole technology partner with whom they work in terms of how the solution were designed. This is a little bit about our company. I will leave it here for a couple of minutes for you to consume. We are very much enterprise focused company, ISO 27000 certified, SOC 2 certified, operating currently beyond India. We don't have UK mentioned here. We also have a UK presence coming up next month. So, Bangalore headquarter company, which is operating in India as well as in US, in UK, as well as in Australia. Okay. Every badge here requires a great effort from organizations. You might have heard about AWS certification, which individual can acquire, correct? But there is something called competencies, program qualifications, and SDPs, which only companies can acquire, and which gets audited by a third party, a US-based company. Every badge here is basically a testament of our technical and the process capabilities. So when you are talking to us, it is proven. It is recommended by AWS. And it is not recommended by just AWS. AWS has put in a third-party body to validate it. Then only they were. So this is about our credentials. I talked about how can we be your one-stop solution. Correct? We can help you with migration. We can help you with not only, so VMware migration is one of our strong practice. We can help you with modernization. Sanket talked about .NET to .NET Core. At this time, we are handling at least 3 major projects where we are helping customers to move from the older .NET format to .NET Core, .NET 8 using AWS Transform. So we can help you with the modernization, including DevOps, managed services. We are one of the top managed services partner of AWS. There are only 12 companies in last 10 years who could qualify that bar. Some of those companies are like Infosys, Tech Mahindra. We are among them. Security compliance, we are AWS security competency partner, understand how to accept, how to implement security into the public cloud. And I'll tell you, security is far better in public cloud than your data center. We are the resilience competency partner, we can plan your BCP, DR very well and implement it. And we are also their GenAI competency partner. So it's like one-stop solution, your technology insurance, which comes with us. This is a little bit about why Complino, proven partner of AWS, who has worked with 500 plus companies, and we've been actually working far more, as we are working more and more, there's more and more companies and more verticals. Now today I have a fortune, an opportunity to introduce one of our customer, ASAP Semiconductors. And we have Biswajit who represent ASAP Semiconductors. Biswajit is an executive vice president at ASAP. And before I go into a very formal introduction of Biswajit, I think Biswajit is one of the great friends. Just want you guys to scan this code and have your interest registered. I'll pause here for a while for you to scan. We can also have the scans available through our executives who are here. You are able to access? Getting some error? If there is something, please allow me to go one-on-one with you and get that. Okay. That's all from my side. There is also a feedback form which we will also we'll come up with that. But overall, what I really want you people to, and now that Sanket, Sudhanshu and I are there, if you have any very specific questions, please feel free to ask. Do you have any queries? Any specific questions? If not, I think we're going to be interacting here. We will have a drink and dinner session behind, so we will basically interact more and we can have this discuss. Okay, this QR code is working, but there was some glitch, should be working. So quickly want to ask Sanket and Sudhanshu to join me to just thank the audience. Sudhanshu is not there? Yeah. So Sanket, thanks for the deep technical session. I think it was very useful. Sudhanshu just stepped out for a perhaps, but I believe it was also very useful. GenAI is the flavor of the day, correct? And I hope you had a great experience going through the various aspects of migration, modernization, the VMware aspect, AI aspect, and followed by me talking about why you should work with partners to actually get your journey started, embark on your migration journey to AWS. And give your Narayan a chance to work with him. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. That now we will basically have more informal conversations while we have our dinner and things. So thank you again. Thanks for coming. I know traffic is bad everywhere. I always used to believe that Bangalore has a bad traffic. I started believing that Pune is going to overcome Bangalore in this reputation. Okay. But nice to be here. I always love engaging with the Pune audience. It also for me to connect with my roots. I've been in Bangalore for almost half of my life now. So I'm a half Kannadiga, half Marathi. And it is very useful that way because I can either connect on either side and enjoy my audience both ways. QR code, we wish to know your feedback, your experience. Okay, this is very useful. I have to report to my boss that if you're here, what exactly you got done. So if there is no feedback, it will be seen as nothing was done. So please make sure that you scan and please give your feedback. Very crucial for all of us who is here from Pomplino as well as from AWS. Every vote here is going to be used for our present. Okay? Thank you.